Welcome back, dear viewers. And now we are joined by Dr. Zakaria Othman, Editor-in-Chief of Al-Ahram newspaper. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
So, sir, as we are all waiting the launch of the Gaza Peace Summit in Sharm el-Sheikh, which is expected shortly, how do you see the importance of Egypt hosting such a historical event?
Yes, actually, first of all, let me say that Sharm el-Sheikh International Summit for Peace in the Middle East is an unprecedented event. It is completely organized by the political leadership, by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, who led Egypt in a very hard time. Everybody knows that almost a week ago, Gaza Strip was completely plunging into a bloodshed or a bloodbath. Everybody was not completely able to expect a peace to take place or even a ceasefire to take place over there. But right now, the Egyptian president could have changed the dreams into reality. That is taking place right now on the ground. The President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi changed everything upside down, and he allowed the Palestinians to take deep breath. Let me say that Sharm el-Sheikh International Summit that is taking place right now is not a normal event. Actually, the Egyptian leadership has exerted an utmost effort to allow the two parts of war, Hamas from one side and Israel from the other, the occupation, there's occupation from on the other side, on the other hand, to sign an agreement last Thursday. And the ceasefire went into effect on Friday noon, exactly or accurately by Friday midday. Anyway, at that time, the U.S. President Donald Trump wanted to greet the Egyptian president for his own and his efforts over the past time, and he announced at that time that he's planning to hold an international meeting for peace in the Middle East. That's gonna take place in Egypt and organized completely by Egypt and by its leadership. That's why not only the U.S. President Donald Trump is here today, but almost 20 heads of states and governments are here in Egypt today to participate in the same event, in addition to many other participants at a lower level, like foreign ministers and so on. Actually, the face of life changed upside down after the summit, and Egypt proved to everybody that Egypt is the key player number one in the Middle East, and without Egypt, nobody can take a decision. Let me shed light on the efforts that the Egyptian intelligence agency in general did, and that the Egyptian intelligence agency chief Brigadier Hassan Rashad did as well during the negotiations period. When Sharm el-Sheikh and the Peace Study hosted the two delegations, namely the Israeli negotiating delegation and Hamas delegation. Actually, both delegations showed inflexibility during negotiations, and they both mean obstructions on the way not to allow the ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas to take place, but actually the Egyptian intelligence agency succeeded to remove all the obstacles and barriers, and they allowed such an agreement to say the Day of Light.
Yes.
Yes, actually, I'd like also to talk about a very important event that is taking place today as well, which is the Israeli hostages release. Everybody knows that Hamas succeeded today morning to hand over the Israeli hostages accurately, the 20 living hostages to Israel, in addition to handing over a number of the human remains of some hostages, in addition to giving some information about the hostages that the international mediators, including U.S., Egypt, Turkey, Qatar, and Qatar, will be working on the coming period to recover. In return, the Israeli military released almost 250 Palestinian prisoners who have been previously sentenced or who have received high sentences like a prison for jail, a prison for life, and something like this. In addition to releasing almost 1,500 Palestinians who have been arrested after October 7 attacks launched by Hamas in 2023. So what I want to say is every Egyptian has to be completely proud of its own political leadership and of the President al-Fattah al-Sisi and of all the Egyptian institutions that already contribute to the architect of such agreement.
Yes, Mr. Zakaria, we are now watching the landing of U.S. President Donald Trump plane in Sharm el-Sheikh airport, as world leaders are waiting for him to start Gaza Peace Summit, which is expected to start shortly.
Yes, actually, this is a second great message, which is sent to everybody in the world. This message reveals easily and frankly that Egypt is a country of peace. Egypt is a country of peace for every guest, especially especially for the international leaders who came today to participate in this great event. What I want to say is the U.S. President Donald Trump is the landing of the U.S. President Donald Trump's presidential plane on in Sharm el-Sheikh sends a great message to everybody, which is Egypt as a land of peace. And the city of peace, Sharm el-Sheikh, is the title of that peace. My message is Egypt is opening its arms to everybody to come to Egypt and to pay a visit to it. Egypt is open to every tourist. Egypt is open to every investor, to find an Arab investor who wants to come and to visit in Egypt or to start business in Egypt. Anyway, Sharm el-Sheikh today is highly decorative and ready to start Sharm el-Sheikh International Summit for peace in the Middle East, and to put an end to the 2-year-long war on Gaza, in which almost, let me say, over 200,000 Palestinians were killed, in addition to having a very higher number of victims. Of injuries. So welcome to the US President. Me, actually personally, and on behalf of every Egyptian, I'd like to say that welcome to the US President in Egypt to introduce a very great message to everybody that Egypt is open to host him and to host every person, whatever he is, because Egypt is the key player. Egypt is the only country in the Middle East that can help all, not only the Arabs, but even to contribute to solving every problem and every problematic issue. Egypt is the only country which proves to the whole world that it is completely ready to work on a very extremely complicated and highly sophisticated issue like the dispute between the Israeli and the Palestinians. And really, Egypt is the only joining link that can play an unprecedented and positive role, a positive mediating role between both parties. And this is what the Egyptian intelligence agency did under the leadership or under the umbrella of the Egyptian president, our great Egyptian president, Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, who proved it to the world that Egypt is a pioneer and a leading country in the Middle East. Egypt is completely able to do everything, and I think the coming of the US president and many other international leaders, Europeans and Arabs as well to Egypt to participate in this event, gives the same message.
Yes, Mr. Zakaria, as we all know that nearly 20 countries and many international organizations are taking part in this historical summit. What is the significance of all these countries participating, and to what extent this puts pressure on Israel to abide by any agreement?
Yes, actually, the participation of more than 20 international political leaders in Sharm el-Sheikh International Conference for Peace is very clear. The significance is Egypt is the only and the main key player in the Middle East.
Yes, Mr. Othman, I'd like to announce that U.S. President Donald Trump arrived in Sharm el-Sheikh airport, and he is expected to join world leaders to start the Gaza Peace Summit in Sharm el-Sheikh. And he is coming from Tel Aviv, where he addressed the Israeli Knesset, and this is the first visit by U.S. President Donald Trump to Egypt after taking office, and he is expected to co-chair the summit with the with the Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. Yes, Mr. Zakaria, as I've just said, that this is the first visit by the U.S. President to Egypt. How do you see the importance and the significance of his visit?
Yes, actually, as I previously said, the participation of more than 20 political leaders from all over the world, from US, from EU, US, and many other Arab and Islamic countries who are supposed to take place in at the current summit, or as the current summit, which is scheduled to take place just a few minutes later, and which is going to be co-chaired by our great Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and his U.S. counterpart Donald Trump. Actually, there is a big significance and importance for this event. As I have previously said, it has many connotations. let me say that I'm calling to everybody who tried to cast doubt over the security possessions in Egypt over the past period. I'd like to say to him, all the sites all over the world are headed right now to Egypt. Egypt as the country of peace. Egypt as a country which is hosting all the world leaders to attend this unique and distinctive political event. It is Egypt which, without it, nothing in the Middle East can take place, and no problem can be solved. Actually, Egypt proved that it has the most important and the most politically effective country and key player in the Middle East. The simplest and the most frank proof that is stand by what I'm saying right now is as president, whose presidential plane has already landed in Sharm el-Sheikh to start his co-chairing of the summit. That is about to take place just a few minutes later. So when somebody talks about Egypt, he has to know that he's talking about a great and a big history, a very great present as well. Let me say that the Egyptian leadership proved to the whole that Egypt as the country #1 in the Middle East, because Israel itself has tried many times to escape reaching this agreement, and there are many key players, regional, international ones who try to push Israel to do that. But actually, it has Egypt that gave no space to the Israeli negotiating team or delegation to vote in obstructions or not to allow the ceasefire agreement to take place. Let me say that. Let me talk frankly even about a very important part that is belongs to Hamas, to the Palestinian movement of Hamas itself. There are some commanders of Hamas. Actually, Egypt is a great country because it is always forgiven, even those who antagonize it, because Egypt is bigger than anyone and anybody. That's why Egypt never stops even against somebody or someone who does something against it, because Egypt is very stronger than this. Egypt succeeded to forget about many things or many slight mistakes that some of Hamas commanders said and did over the past period, and really it is taught. It is taught by the issue of peace that takes the issue of the peace that must be accomplished in the Middle East, and really it does. What I want to say is what is happening right now is a carnival, is an Egyptian carnival from all sides. The Egyptian leadership sends a frank and a clear message to all the countries in the world that this is a great Egypt. It is Egypt. It is Egypt that is getting back its leading and pioneering stance all over the world. It is Egypt that everybody comes to. Egypt never goes anyone, but Egypt is a country that everyone comes to it.
Yes, Dr. Zakaria Othman, editor-in-chief of Ahram newspaper, and now we can all see the arrival of U.S. President Donald Trump to Sharm el-Sheikh International Airport, and President Fattah el-Sisi is heading to to the airport in Sharm el-Sheikh to welcome the U.S. President in his first official visit to Egypt. And also the President decided to grant the U.S. President the Nile Medal in appreciation of his peace efforts, as the U.S. President made a pivotal role for putting an end to the war in Gaza, the last such effort in a series of moves that include attempts to stem also the Ukrainian war. And now we have just seen President Fattah el-Sisi heading to the U.S. plane to welcome the President Donald Trump. And as we all know, that U.S. President Donald Trump and President Fattah el-Sisi are expecting to co-chair Gaza Peace Summit in Sharm el-Sheikh. Also, President Fattah el-Sisi welcomed many world leaders early in the day ahead of participation at the Peace Summit.
Yeah. I'm all in ears.
Yes,
yes. Actually, what I want to say is when Mr. President Fattah el-Sisi makes his way to Sharm el-Sheikh International Airport to receive his own U.S. counterpart,
yes,
this is another clear message. It indicates that the president of the Middle East. The president of the Middle East country, the president of the country #1 in the Middle East, our great president, is receiving the president of the country #1 in the world, the U.S. president, or his own U.S. counterpart. So it is a carnival that everybody has to focus on what is happening right now. Nobody can deny that the U.S. President Donald Trump has exerted his own efforts, and he really did his own best to architect the peace plan. That's why the media described it at the beginning as Trump's peace plan over Gaza. But let me say that without the Egyptian leadership that has tried to build on Trump's peace process, nobody, Trump's peace plan over Gaza couldn't have seen the day of light, because as I have said many times, when I wanted to comment on the importance and the insignificance of what Egypt did, I said that it is only the Egyptian intelligence agency that played a very distinctive and great role to achieve a rapprochement and to narrow the gaps between the Hamas delegation and the Israeli one, because both delegations have been completely biased against each other, and there were very complicated points or items in the agreement. But the Egyptian Public Intelligence Agency and its great chief, Brigadier Hassan Rashad, could have removed all the barriers, and they could have allowed Egypt to be the architect of Gaza agreement. So let me say it again. Today, Gaza International Summit in Sharm el-Sheikh is co-chaired by our great Egyptian President Fattah el-Sisi and his U.S. counterpart Donald Trump, whose presidential plane has already landed in Sharm el-Sheikh International Airport to send a clear message to everybody that it is only Egypt and U.S. Who make peace in the world in general and
Yes.
in the Middle East in particular.
Yes, Mr. Zakaria, as now we can see President Fattah al-Sisi receives U.S. President Donald Trump in Sharm el-Sheikh airport in his first official visit to Egypt, and we all know that the U.S. President is co-chairing the summit with Gaza summit today with President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, and the President decided to grant the U.S. President the Order of the Nile in appreciation of his peace efforts, as the U.S. President made a pivotal role for putting an end to the war in Gaza. And as we all know, that Gaza summit is expected to start shortly, as many world leaders arrived early in the day. The U.S. President is coming from Tel Aviv after he addressed the Knesset early in the day. And also the U.S. President said today in his address that the Middle East will be a magnificent region soon. As he was addressing the Israeli parliament, also he said that the day marks a historical dawn for a new Middle East. He described the White House envoy Steve Witkoff as a great man, and peace would not have been achieved without his presence. He also expressed appreciation to Arab and Islamic countries that helped reach a deal to end the war in Gaza. He also said that the Middle East region is heading towards a golden era, and Arab and Islamic countries are peace partners. He said by the ceasefire deal, a painful nightmare for Israelis and Palestinians has ended. He also said that hatred speech has fruited nothing but murder and destruction. Now we are all waiting for U.S. President Donald Trump to start his visit to Egypt and join the rest of world leaders in Sharm el-Sheikh to start Gaza Peace Summit, as he is co-chairing the summit, which aims to put an end to the war in Gaza Strip and also to consolidate peace and stability in the region. And also, as we all know, that tens of thousands of Palestinians who survived the 2 years of Israeli aggressions continued returning their homes in rubble-strewn neighborhoods in Gaza City, north of the enclave, as a ceasefire was holding. Now President Donald Trump is heading to the venue of the meeting today, the summit, the peace summit in Sharm el-Sheikh, and is received by by the Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. This is the first visit by U.S. President to Egypt since he assumed office, and the President is expected to co-chair the summit with him, and the summit aims at ending the war in Gaza. President Fattah al-Sisi also arrived early at the premises of Sharm el-Sheikh Peace Summit to welcome world leaders who arrived early in the day. President Fattah al-Sisi decided to grant the U.S. President the Order of the Nile in appreciation of his peace efforts. And this is a historical day for Egypt, as it succeeded in mediating between Israelis and Palestinians and succeeded in reaching an agreement that ends the war in Gaza after 2 years of aggression. The U.S. President is coming from Tel Aviv as he visited Israel early in the day. He also addressed the Israeli parliament and made a historical speech marking the end of the war. And we are all expecting a Gaza summit, peace summit, to start shortly after the arrival of U.S. President Donald Trump, as he is now heading to the summit venue to join the rest of the world leaders who arrived early in the day. The summit is co-chaired by Egyptian President Fattah al-Sisi and the U.S. President. Viewers, that was a live transmission for the arrival of the U.S. President Donald Trump in his first official visit to Egypt, as he is heading now to Gaza summit venue in Sharm el-Sheikh to join the rest of the world leaders who arrived early in the day to start the summit and announce the end of the 2-year war in Gaza. President Donald Trump went to Israel early in the day to celebrate the U.S. brokered and Egyptian brokered ceasefire and hostage deal between Israel and Hamas, an agreement that he declared had effectively ended the war and opened the door to building a durable peace in the Middle East. Trump told reporters traveling with him aboard Air Force One that the war is over. He said he thinks people are tired of it, emphasizing that he believed the ceasefire would hold because of that. As after that he arrived to the Israeli parliament to deliver his speech.